All right, all right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the American Canadian School of Medicine webinar. My name is Maria. I'll be your host or moderator. I am actually at the airport. I'm heading to the University of California, Davis pre health conference. So you might hear the airport noise and chaos. So I apologize. But Amanda's with us today. She's very graciously giving us her time. She is one of the head admissions advisors at American Canadian School of Medicine, and she is extremely happy to answer any questions you might have. So, Amanda, introduce yourself.
Hi, guys. So, my name is Amanda Massicott, and as Maria said, I am one of the admissions advisors here at AXOM. I'm actually on the island, so I can also provide students with a very unique perspective since I am here on campus every day, well, in the week, and so be able to provide that kind of perspective to our students. I have a background in psychology. I'm actually a clinical psychologist, and I've been working with AXOM since June, and I'm really excited about the process of helping students get to become students here at AXOM.
All right, great. And can you tell us a little bit more about AXUM? What distinguishes it from other medical universities? A little bit about the curriculum and the program.
Okay, great. Okay, so AXOM is really different from a lot of the medical schools. I've actually worked at two of them before as counselors, and so this gave me it changed my perspective about what medical school is like. The first thing is that AXOM is a non-profit school, so we're actually not beholden to any stakeholders, and that helps to keep our tuition really low, and even it affects our student to faculty ratio as well. You won't find us having those auditoriums filled with students, hundreds of students, and just being lost in those classrooms. Instead, we provide no more than 10 to 1. So there'll be no more than 10 students to one faculty member. And I think that is very important for our students. I remember myself being a student and being lost in those large classrooms, falling asleep sometimes because I just felt like another number in there. But with AXOM, we keep our numbers very small, and that helps in terms of the intimacy and gives you a better way to connect to your colleagues as well as your faculty members. So that's one thing that makes us very unique. In addition, our curriculum uses an integrated approach to learning. So unlike other schools where you may go where there's the subject, the typical basic sciences courses like microbiology, anatomy, those types of things, we use an integrated approach, and it actually models the Yale's curriculum. Um, and you will find it to be a more modern and very helpful curriculum in that sense. In addition, we are providing our students with something that I think a lot of students find helpful because they worry sometimes about offshore medical schools, whether or not they'd be able to get into residency programs. And at Axom, we're providing them with a guarantee that if after 36 months, there are some conditions, but if after 36 months they're not able to match or find residency placement, we actually refund them their tuition. And so those things I think make us very unique, as well as our commitment to our social mission, which is to help Dominica and the healthcare system in Dominica, where we're located, as well as producing compassionate, competent doctors.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Amanda. And you mentioned that you are in Dominica and you are from Dominica, which is
Yes.
great. Yes, it gives you an amazing perspective. You can share not
Yes.
just your experience, but also give us a little bit of advice, tips, suggestions, what to avoid, how to think about becoming a student and living on the island of Dominica, the nature island.
Okay, great. So you are right. It's the nature isle of the Caribbean, and so it's very different from what you would typically imagine when you think of a Caribbean island. We're not as fast paced as some of the other islands. We're more laid back, and some of the conveniences that you may have gotten to used to, sorry, while living in the US, you may have to make some adjustments. But Dominica is a great place to study. There are a few distractions, so that helps to make it very conducive, as well as our campus location. We're actually located minutes away from the beach, and so sometimes when our students are stressed, it's an easy way to get to the beach. Sorry, to get some time to kind of disconnect and refresh and reset. So the campus location is very helpful for that. Um, In terms of Dominica itself, Dominica is a very safe place, so that at least there's security there. You don't have to worry so much about um, being in danger. The location of your buildings, of your accommodation, is minutes away from the campus itself, so there's an easy walk to get to campus. And so those things I think help our students to feel very secure on the island. In terms of some things to prepare for. I think if there are certain things that you're very attached to, you may want to bring them with you when you get to Dominica, because accessing some things can be kind of challenging if you are not familiar with the place. But just in general, I think Dominica is a great place to study because it's the nature isle. So there you'll be minutes away from a river, minutes away from the beach. There are mountains that helps you just to feel more connected with nature. So I think yes, Dominica is a great place for that, as well as the people like me. We're friendly people, very accommodating, and you, if you speak to any faculty or staff, or even our students who are here on campus, they will tell you that Dominicans are very friendly people, very helpful, and
I
that
will
too can make
absolutely
life very
agree with
easier.
that.
I
100%.
know
And
you
it
had
is
your personal
so
experience
welcoming.
recently.
Absolutely. I love Dominica so much that I'm thinking about possibly moving. So
Hey, exactly. So I think our students will love it in Dominica. As I said, there are some accommodations that you have to make. You have to be flexible and open minded. And if you come in with an expectation that things are going to be exactly like the US or Canada, where you're coming from, you will have to make lots of adjustment. But it's the perfect place to study, especially because you'll be so connected with nature, so close to places that will help you to reset, refresh, and get ready to be a successful student.
right. Thank you so much for that. And tell us a little bit about the actual admissions process. So there's a pre-med student or biology major student considering medicine. They want to become a doctor. This is their passion, their dream. But applying to medical school can be very
Very.
scary, right? It's very worrisome. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot to the application process. What do you say to someone to encourage them to take that first step?
I think sometimes we get caught up in the negative thoughts that kind of circulate in our head that we ruminate on, and holds us back from actually taking that leap. But if you look at the steps itself, it's not very complicated, especially here at Axom. We try to make the process as simple as possible. So here's what you have to do. First, you go on the link that's we usually email to our students, our leads, or it's available on our website. And you fill out a very simple form. There's no application fee. And all you need to do is to upload these three documents: your transcripts, your personal statement, and your resume. Apart from that, what we would need is for you to also get two references to send letters of recommendation on your behalf. So it's a very simple process when it comes to applying. It's scary, yes, indeed it is, but we try to make the process as simple as possible. In addition, your admissions advisor will help you with the process, guiding you, providing tips, and also guidance in terms of what you should do in terms of your personal statement, your resume, that kind of thing. Now, once that is done, the next step would be review by the admissions committee and inviting you to an interview. That is also, I think, for most students, can be anxiety provoking. With that, you can work with your admissions advisor to help to kind of go through some of the things to expect from that interview. One of the things I have been helping students with is to how they should prepare in terms of dressing and presenting themselves. I think a lot of students don't understand this is an important interview, and so that they should dress up, dress for success, and also how they present themselves in terms of empathy, how they relate, and just think of themselves as a future doctor. And so that would be the next step. And then once the interview is done, you get some sort of information back. You may be informed that you are accepted. And with that, you will be automatically considered for a scholarship. If that is the case, you are informed what scholarship it is and how much that scholarship is. And then once that's done, then we begin the process of onboarding. So I think when you think about applying to medical school, it is scary. It's a big step, but we try to keep the process as simple as possible. And you can always work with your admissions advisors. They're very helpful, they're very supportive to help you go through that process of applying.
All right. And we are calling this webinar the competitive edge on the application process. You just described the process perfectly. Let's talk about the competitive edge. What sets students apart from each other? What do you recommend a student do or say, or maybe write in their personal statement or do in their interview? What can set them apart and give them that competitive edge?
Okay. First off, I think numbers matter, and I've seen that we consider a GPA of above 3.0 or 500 on the MCAT as competitive. So that's the first part, right? In terms of your transcripts itself, knowing that you have the prerequisites and this, a strong science foundation is very important, and that gives you a competitive edge from somebody who may not necessarily have completed all the prerequisite courses that we require. In addition to that, maybe more experience in science or clinical research can also help our students. So, for example, if you've been a scribe or if you've worked in a hospital shadowing other persons, that I think also gives you that edge over a student who is coming in fresh out of school who may not necessarily have that. And I think lastly, the way you present yourself. I have seen students who are they look great on paper, great GPA, good extracurricular activities, but when they present themselves, they falter. So, for example, they may not dress appropriately for the interview. They may cancel and reschedule. Even the way that they speak during the interview, they're not very empathetic. Um, they present themselves in a way that is not becoming of doctors, and so I think the interview process is very critical. I think students should take it very seriously. They should prep properly, they should dress appropriately. I remember one of our interviewers commenting on how one particular interviewee had dressed up with a jacket and a tie, and that was impressive to him. And so I think that, especially the first impression when the committee, the panel meets you, is an important part of the process, and that will help you to get that additional points over somebody else.
Okay, and Amanda, what happens when a prospective student doesn't have a perfect 3.8 or 3.9 or a 515 MCAT score? What are their chances?
Well, each individual is looked at, well, as an individual. We do not just blankly or generally assess our students. We look at you as an individual. And so even if you don't have the desired GPA or MCAT scores, we do look at your full application, looking at your personal statement, for example, your passion to becoming a doctor, your involvement in extracurricular activity. As I had said before, the AXOM is a nonprofit that's very committed to social mission. And so we look at volunteerism, community service, research, those types of things as very helpful to a student or students. And so that is considered highly. So those things will be also included when we look at your application, not just your GPA, but your personal statement, your resume, and your involvement, those things as well. So, yes, you may be worried that you don't have the numbers that I mentioned before, but please go ahead and apply and let's see what happens.
All right, and from beginning to end, the entire application process, how long do you think that'll take? And let's say that they are accepted. What are the next steps from that point on?
Okay, great. So from beginning to end, in terms of the application process, that's about 2 weeks, I would say, sometimes less, but generally on average about 2 weeks. Um, you are guided through that process with your admissions advisor. They will work closely with you, especially if you're missing any documents, to make sure those reference letters come in. All those things we will work closely with you. In terms of once you're accepted, here are some things that you may need to do. For one, you would have to commit once you're accepted. So you would have to sign your enrollment letter. You're also required to pay a seat deposit of $1,000. That's non-refundable. That is removed from your first tuition. Um, and that shows us that you're ready to come in. If you're not able to do the seat deposit, we also give you an option of either sending copies of your bookings, your reservation for your your tickets to come to Dominica, or your deposit that you've paid towards your housing. We also require our students to do a criminal background check, so that is also part of that process before they get to Dominica, as well as a pre-departure orientation that is done just before, just after, sorry, you're accepted.
Okay, and we do have a question from the audience. Everyone is welcome
Okay.
to submit questions, by the way. But Brandy would like to know a little bit more on MCAT requirements. Is there anything you can give us regarding MCAT?
Okay, great. Well, I have good news for our students. We actually have an MCAT waiver, which is in place right now until the 1st of March. So if you have not taken the MCAT and you're thinking seriously about applying, I would definitely encourage you to go ahead and apply now. Um, whether that be for spring, which is January, or our second intake, which is in fall in August. You can actually apply now, even if you've not completed your degree and you're in the process of that. So let's say you're probably in your last semester of undergrad and you're completing your degree maybe in May, you can actually apply and you may receive conditional acceptance knowing that you will be completing soon. And so yes, the MCAT is not required, but you have to apply before the 1st of March. Anything after the 1st of March, you would need to submit your MCAT scores. And as I said before, an MCAT score of 500 and above is considered competitive.
All right. Now, let's talk about the student who is kind of in the middle of the road when it comes to the prerequisites to the MCAT, the GPA. What do you recommend they apply? Do you recommend they wait until they take that MCAT again and get a higher score? What do you suggest?
I suggest that they apply. They apply because we may think that it's just one thing that is you are missing that the committee might reject you for, but we actually have some systems in place that helps with that. So, for example, a student who may have been out of school for very long and may have a low GPA or maybe missing their prerequisites, some of the prerequisite courses, they we have a program that we offer our students just for that reason, which is the Harvard HMX courses. So let's say maybe you don't have the organic chemistry, or you don't have physics, or maybe you only have one semester of chemistry, or maybe you've been out of school for five years or more. The committee may actually accept you conditionally on the condition that you would do those Harvard HMX courses, which are online, and get that stronger foundation, because obviously we want you to succeed. As I said before, we're a not-for-profit school. We really want to ensure that we produce competent, compassionate doctors, and so we don't want to reject anyone who's passionate about becoming a doctor. So we want to ensure that when you come in, you have a likelihood of success coming in with a strong science foundation, and the Harvard HMX courses is designed just for that. So you would be recommended likely to do those Harvard HMX courses, and once you do them, the amount that you pay towards those courses would be deducted from your tuition. So basically you're not losing anything. It's additional time, true, but it ensures one that you're successful because you would come in with a stronger science foundation, and two, that money that you spent is deducted from your tuition anyways.
Yeah, and I think this is a great option that a lot of people just don't know about. A lot of people think, well, I'm just going to have to take another semester at college and work on that GPA. But this option that you've explained is perfect.
Exactly, it really is. And hey, it's Harvard, right? This is a reputable school, and having an opportunity to do science courses there with them online, I think is a great opportunity for our students.
All right. So let's say that the student has been accepted. Okay, they paid their deposit. You mentioned it's $1,000. Their seat is secured. What is
Mhm.
the process of, do they need a visa, a passport? What is that process? And then what about housing?
Okay, great. So yes, they would need a passport, sorry, because they are leaving the US, the mainland US, and traveling to the Caribbean. So a passport is required. So while you're applying for to become a student with us, I strongly encourage you to also apply for your passport if you don't have one. It takes some time, so you want to start that process early. You will be required to have a visa to a student visa to get to be in Dominica as a student, but you don't need it to get into the island. So our students come in as visitors, and while they're there, we help them with the process of getting a student visa. I would recommend though that they get some of the documents ahead of time before they get to Dominica, so that expedites the process. So, for example, they would need a health certificate, a certificate of good health, and so I would recommend that they get that while they're still in the US. They would need to also have passport photos. I would recommend that they get that in the US as well, just to expedite the process. And our director of student support services, he's very helpful in helping you to understand what documents are needed, and so you could probably try working on that before you get to Dominica. And so, yes, you need a passport, definitely, and you would need documents that helps you to get your student visa once you're on the island of Dominica. But that process is done while you're in Dominica. The last thing is housing. Our students are fortunate since we've gone ahead and pre-screened 4 apartment complexes that are within walking distance of the school, and that has met the approval of our high standards. And so those apartments are found on our housing portal on our website. So even ahead of time, our students can go ahead once they are accepted to choose their apartments. They will work with our rental agent, Miss Keisha Gilbert, and she will help them with the lease and getting everything organized even before they get to Dominica. So once they get to Dominica, they already know where they're staying. Um, and that is already set. That's one thing that they don't have to worry about. And so the housing portal, as I mentioned, is on our website. Our students can already begin to look at those apartments and make a decision based on that. The apartments are between $600 and $700 a month, and they're really great in terms of the location, how clean they are, and modern they are as well.
Okay, so in the audience, we have people that are going to apply. They're going to be accepted. We have some future Axum students watching us right now.
Hey, hi.
Yeah. What if they have pets or a spouse or children? What then?
Hey, we accept everything, everybody. We actually have one of our students who came in with his pets and his wife. And so we had to help with that process. If you are coming in with your pet, please let us know in advance because there's a process. You would need to get a few shots for your pet. We do have the requirements for that, and we help you with the process as well. So please let us know in advance. And but we do welcome pets. There's an apartment complex that accepts pets. So we if we know ahead of time that you are coming in with your pet, we will ensure that you have the information for that particular apartment complex. If you're coming in with your spouse, the process is also very simple. Once they get there, we apply for residency permits for them as well, and we will let you know what documentations are needed for that process. But yes, we do welcome pets, parents, anybody else that you come in with. It's Dominica is not very restrictive, so there are a few limitations in
Okay.
terms of what you can come in with or who you can come in with. And
Okay.
the apartments, we can cater to them. For most of the apartments on the website are 1 bedrooms, but we also have those with 2 bedrooms, and if you ask for more, we will help you with that process.
Okay, and I know you are an admissions advisor, so the financial aid is another department. But can you give us a little bit of the basic information? Brandy would like to have more information on scholarships as well.
Okay. So once you're accepted, you're automatically considered for a scholarship. You don't have to apply for a scholarship separately. We offer scholarships in 4 areas, which are community service, leadership, academic excellence, and diversity. And our dean would review your application and you would be granted a scholarship based on the strength of your application. The amount is also determined by him, again, based on the strength of your application. As it relates to financial aid, right now we have an interim scholarship deferment program in place. So students who are accepted can choose to use that program where they would defer their tuition until our loans program is in place. And while that is in place, it won't accrue any sort of interest at all. And so that helps our students knowing that once our loan program is in place, they can apply for that. But in the meantime, they don't have to pay any tuition and not accrue any interest because of that. If
Okay,
they choose
excellent.
to, they
Final.
actually have that option. Sorry, they actually have that
I mean,
option. Or some students may apply for personal loans and just use their personal funds to pay for their tuition.
okay, excellent. Thank you. So, final question, Amanda.
Yes,
If a
ma'am.
student or if an applicant is lucky enough
Mhm.
to have you as an admissions advisor, they're submitting their application right now and they're going to be paired up with you. What are some of your personal pet peeves? How do you want to be in communication with the applicant? What do you suggest?
Well, I am open to any form of communication. Actually, I'm happy to help students. I have a vested interest in students coming to Dominica because this is my island. Okay, so I'm very happy to help anyone who is interested in getting to Dominica, and I will work with them through whatever medium. So whether that be email, calls, text, whatever it is, I'm open to that. Um, for other admissions advisors, the medium may be different, but for myself, I'm open to anything. I'm just happy to help them with that process. Do whatever it takes to help them make that process as easy as possible, to make the transition as easy as possible. As I said, I'm a Dominican, so I really present a perspective that's unique, that can be very helpful to students because I know how to navigate the system. I know how to find your way around in terms of different things that students may struggle with once they become a student here. And so I am willing and able to help with that process to make it as smooth as possible.
Amanda, thank you so much. You have been so generous with your time and so helpful with your insight and giving us the competitive edge on the application process. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We appreciate your questions. Keep sending them. This will be recorded and posted on our website and social media as well. Thank you, Amanda. Have a wonderful afternoon and great weekend, everyone.
Thank you, Maria, for your opportunity to talk a little bit about my passion. And I hope to hear from a lot of you guys. Please reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to me whenever you can. My email address is amanda@acsom.edu.dm, and I would be happy to answer any more questions that you have, or as I said before, guide you through the process of applying. Sorry. Have a good one, guys.